How y'all doing? We're now tuned in into the fourth episode of Black Owl Podcast. I have the honor to sit with Miss Key. Talk to him, Miss Key. Introduce yourself, man.
Okay, so my name is Key. I'm officially a part of the Black Owl group, and I'm excited to give y'all some information and give y'all insight on the market and a little bit about how we do things around here.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. We got a lot of topics, all right? So y'all go get y'all popcorn, kick your feet up, and tuned in, man. Get ready to get your brain filled with a lot of information, all right? So the first topic I want to talk about, Key, is buyers' mistakes. You know, what that looks like to you.
Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk about not getting pre-approved, because you do need a pre-approval when you're looking to purchase a home. I would say that when you're in the field, the pre-approval is there so that you aren't really wasting anybody's time, not your own and not your realtors. A lot of people want to see that you've been pre-approved because the banks are going to tell you your budget. So you just want to make sure you have that pre-approval. And then also you want to make sure you're not running your credit as much. So a lot of people will run their credit. You can't run your credit during the process. Banks don't like to see that. It's a red flag if you're trying to get credit before purchasing a home.
No, I agree. I 100% agree. I had a client before that was like, man, I don't want to get the pre-approval. You know, I don't want to do that yet. Let's just go see houses. And I was explaining to that client, I'm like, hey, the pre-approval is going to let us know what your buying power is, all right? And I always explain to them as we don't want to waste time. You know, you don't want to fall in love with $1 million property if that's what you can't afford. You know what I mean? We want to know what your buying power is. So I think getting a pre-approval is one of the main steps, the most vital steps to take when you're buying a home. Also, I want to touch bases on credit score.
Okay.
I had a client before, we was in the buying process, and they purchased a car right before we got the pre-approval. So when we got the pre-approval, the car didn't pop up on their credit history.
Yeah.
You know, so it takes 30 days to close a transaction, right? When they did the final underwriting, then it popped up. So the underwriter was like, hey, I don't think we're gonna close this deal.
Okay.
Because they just bought a new car. So their debt income ratio was a little higher than when we got the pre-approval. So we ended up closing the deal. You know, they had one of the best realtors ever. You know, I had to get on the phone and kind of, you know, negotiate certain things from them. I kind of told them to take that car back, long story short. But that was a whole thing itself. You know, it was time consuming. The client then got discouraged and things of that nature. So to avoid all that, try not to run your credit before buying a house or during the buying process. I tell them, wait till you get your keys.
Got you. So how do you feel about people with pre-approvals, but say, for example, the client has a $500K pre-approval? Are you forcing them to purchase a home for $500K, or are you letting them buy smart? When I say buy smart, I would advise that my client will obviously stay within budget and stay within their monthly mortgage of what they can actually afford, as opposed to doing a full $500K pre-approval. But if it was you, how do you feel about that?
So I don't ever force any client to do nothing. I just give them the information, right? So of course, if they have a 550 credit score versus somebody that got a 650 or a 700 credit score, their interest rate is going to be a little higher, right, based on their credit score. So I give them that information. I let them know. I say, hey, what is your monthly expense? What are you comfortable with spending? And they tell me that dollar amount. Once they tell me that, then I tell them, okay, well, you got a 550. And I let a loan officer do their job. I say, hey, loan officer, they have a 550 credit score. I want you to kind of tell the client an estimate of if they have this 550, what their interest rates will be and what their monthly expense will be, versus if they have a 650, what would their monthly expenses be? And they make that decision from there. You know, if they like it, I love it.
So that goes into not comparing the loans, because we talked about buyer mistakes, how they don't compare the loans in your situation. You always want to get your lender to give you loan comparisons, especially if you're dealing with multiple lenders. So whether you're going FHA, whether you're going conventional, whatever it may be the route you're going, when it comes down to that down payment, you want to make sure that you can afford your monthly mortgage payment. Because monthly mortgages are cheap. Once they start adding taxes, insurance, and things like that, that's when it starts to get expensive.
Right.
So, you know, you definitely want to make sure you're definitely comparing
Knowledgeable.
those loan options, and being knowledgeable about the different options that are out there with your lender.
Right. And if you don't like your loan, I guess, pre-approval, you always have the option to shop with other loan officers. I had a loan officer that had one of my clients at this dollar amount. It wasn't the best, right? Yeah. So I said, okay, well, let's go shop around. Let's go see what this loan officer can do. We actually went to a new construction loan officer. They had found a house that they liked with new construction. And that new construction loan officer had their dollar amount a little above that other price point that the other loan officer had. So shop around. If you don't like your pre-approval, you have the option to shop around.
Okay. So let's talk about realtors, because I believe that in this transaction, you want to have the right realtor. You don't want to just have any realtor you're working with. So what do you think makes a great realtor?
It varies on whose personality. So I'll give you an example. Like our business partner Adrian Smith, he's more of a aggressive realtor, and I don't want to say aggressive. He's just more direct. That's the word I'm gonna use, right? Now, some people don't like that approach. You know what I mean? So you might gotta find your realtor that's gonna give you that compassion or be indirect, I guess. Some people like that. They just want you to kind of give them reassurance of what they're thinking. I'm not that type of realtor. I'm gonna give you the facts. I'm gonna let you know what this is, and I'm gonna give you my advice on what we should do. I feel like that's the best realtor in my opinion, but it varies. It just depends on who you are.
Okay, so what kind of realtor are you, and what kind of realtor do you think I am?
So I'm the type of realtor that's going to break it down very meticulous, right?
Okay.
I look at everything from the consumer eye. Okay. So I'm a realtor, right? I don't think like a realtor when I'm dealing with my clients. I look at it from the point of view of, okay, they're my client. What are they thinking? All right. Once I understand what that is in my mind, then I move accordingly. I'm like, okay, I think they're gonna ask me, what's the square foot of the house, or they're a little, indirect, or they're a little indecisive. So I start moving accordingly based on that client personality. But I think you're the same based off of our past business, we have done in our conversations. I think you're the same. You're very, you're a person that gives the information. So, yeah, I think you're the same. And to me, that is a great realtor.
Thank you so much. So I also want to talk about how people avoid inspections. Why do you believe that is a thing that a buyer, the mistake that a buyer makes when it comes to avoiding inspections? How do you feel about it?
Okay, so the average person that's buying a house, this is going to be the biggest investment that they do in their life, right?
Okay.
You don't want to get the house and then 30 days later it's falling, right?
For sure.
Now, if you got an inspector to inspect that house prior to you purchasing your house, then you will know that house will be falling soon. So now you can fix the problem before you purchase the house. So I always recommend get an inspector. Now, I had some clients that's like, I don't want an inspector. I don't want to deal with it. I love this house. And I mean, like I said, if you like it, I love it. I'm not going to force you to get an inspector, but I recommend it for sure. Okay.
So since we've talked about buyer mistakes, let's jump into qualified buyers.
Okay. Qualified buyers. Like we said, somebody that can get pre-approved for sure. A lender typically wants a 580 credit score to pre-approval. So your credit score got to be at least 580.
Okay.
All right, at least 580. Get you a pre-approval. And I think that's what a qualified buyer is. I think that states what a qualified buyer is. What do you think?
I mean, I recommend personally a 620. Okay. I believe that you're just above that threshold, because now you can start getting into conventional loans. A lot of people would tell you a 580 credit score is the minimum, which is true.
Right.
But I'm going to make sure my clients go for above and beyond. Obviously, 620 is not the best.
Right.
But if you have a 580 credit score, you're still going to get the same interest rate. You're still going to be in that same tier. A lot of people don't understand that mortgage rates are based on tiers.
Right.
So if you have a 580 credit score, you're going to get the same interest rate as somebody with a 620 credit score. So you might as well motivate your client or push your client to have a 620 credit score or above,
right?
Because they get more incentives. Like,
right.
as far as incentives, I'm just saying they get a better interest rate,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
I agree. Shoot for the stars, and I'm definitely that type of person anyway. I believe in not half stepping, so it's like, okay, if you're gonna do this, go all the way with it. Get you a 620. Like you said, 620 ain't the best, but hey, when a loan officer sees 620, oh, they like, let's go.
Let's go, right? You meet all their requirements. You ready?
Let's go.
It's not too much that's gonna hinder you, obviously. So obviously, you just jump into the pre-approval. You jump into the credit score of having a 620 or better. In your situation, obviously a 580 is the start. Starter kit.
Well,
right?
Now you got me changing my opinion. Now I'm like, oh, I might need to do 620.
I mean, at this point, every realtor is different. We all do things our way. 580 is the minimum.
Right.
So you do want your client to feel like even if they have a 580 credit score, they do have a shot. Exactly. So you're not doing anything wrong.
Right.
So let's jump into the debt to income ratio, because that is a main factor too.
Right.
Your debt to income ratio could qualify you or disqualify you.
Right.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah. I mean, you got to understand, what do you owe? All right. The bank don't want to loan you no money if you owe a lot of money. That don't make any sense. And anybody that knows money or understand, okay, I don't want to be in a situation to rob Peter to pay Paul, right?
Okay.
I don't want to give this guy money. If I give him this, he's going to do this with this money, and it's not going to serve me, right?
Exactly.
So, make sure your debt income ratio is low as possible. Get those student loans out the way. If you owe credit card dues, pay it off. Understand that, and that speaks on personality. If you owe in credit cards and you owe student loans, you will be owing on a mortgage as well. Get that debt income ratio low as possible.
Okay, so let's talk about financials, because a lot of people don't understand what it takes to qualify for a mortgage loan. So with that being said, you do need to have your bank statements. The lenders are going to look at your bank statements. They are going to look at your W-2s. They're going to look at your tax returns, the last 2 years of your tax returns. But they also want to know that you're stable.
Right.
You need job stability. So with job stability, you need to have worked at the same job for at least 2 years, or at least been a full-time employee for someone for 2 years.
Right.
Now, a lot of the times, everybody's financials isn't in order.
Right.
So they don't know they don't know the process of different things. But there are a lot of options out there if you don't qualify for a standard, or we call them traditional mortgages. So if you don't qualify for that, you do have the option to do a bank statement loan and so forth. But let's not get off topic. In your opinion, when it comes to financials, how do you feel about it, or what is something you've encountered when it comes to financials?
I had a client before. This was in my early stage of my career, and the guy was like, "Man, I got 50 bands right now." Okay. I'm like, okay, it's in the bank account. We're good. He said, hey, I want to stop you. It's not in the bank account. I got it in my house, and it's in a shoebox.
Okay.
I said, oh, man, I don't know if we can make this work. So, like I said, it was in my beginning stage. I didn't really too much know how to tell him he need that money seasoned. Right?
Yeah.
So I got him with a loan officer, and he explained they want to know where this money is coming from.
Gotcha.
All right? Yeah, you got 50 bands, but we don't know if you're going to have that 50 bands next month, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, to a year now. We want to know that you're going to have this money. Okay, if I see you have 2 years tax returns, right? I understand that you will have this money 2 years down the line.
For sure.
So that's basically what those loan officers are looking for.
Okay. And let's not forget reserves, because you do need your savings. Some lenders are a little bit different, but they do want to know that once you move into the home, you do have at least 3 months of the monthly mortgage payment available. Reason being is because I think your first mortgage payment isn't due 45 or 60 days after.
Yeah, it's the following month. So if you close in let's say we're in August.
Yeah.
You don't have a payment until
October.
Not September, October.
October,
yes. I was trying to get the
okay.
months in my head.
Yeah, so you definitely want to have reserves. I tell people all the time, you don't want to be house poor.
Right.
Like, and it happens. A lot of us move into our HGTV
home.
we move into the best homes, but the reality of it is, I tell my clients, if you're looking to purchase a home, you should probably stay underwater where you know for a fact you can still furnish and decorate your home, because that'll tell you honestly where you're at. If you can move in it and it got to take you time to live in it
to get your furniture,
it's automatic.
You might not need to make this move.
Right, for sure. Like, you need to make the move, but you need to make a move at a lower price point.
Right.
You know, because we all love to fall in love with fancy. We want our HGTV home, but the reality of it is, when you purchase a home, you are supposed to invest and buy smart.
Know your budget.
A lot of people, know your budget.
Know your budget.
Like, if you have a $700K pre-approval, and you know you can only afford $2,400 a month, you're probably looking at around $350K or a little bit, or depending on your interest rate, $250 to maybe $300 something K. Not a year, but $300K home.
Right.
You know.
And I also explain. I think I said this in the beginning of this podcast. I ask my clients, what are you comfortable with paying monthly? That is a very important question. Because let's say you do get pre-approved for $700K, $700. That price point monthly is different from a $300,000 property.
Exactly.
So you got to understand what that looks like before you say, oh, I got approved for $700. Let's get the $700,000 house. Oh, okay. Yeah, when you get that monthly expense, let's see if you're gonna like it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so last but not least for this topic, I think we should dive into down payment. A lot of people, there are a lot of down payment assistance programs out there, and I try to explain to everybody that those are great programs. Having assistance is great, but a lot of times that comes with a second lien. That comes with a higher monthly mortgage payment, because the reality of it is, nothing is free in life, okay? I'm going to be honest. Nothing is free. So when you have a down payment assistance program, you are definitely paying that back through the interest rate. The interest rates are a little bit more higher, so you pay that back. I had 2 clients recently close, same day, and the reality of it is, they both came in on a program, one in the down payment assistance they wanted down payment assistance. And I explained to them, I was like, let's do some loan comparisons. Let's see what it costs you, 3.5% down or $0 down, for sure. We end up going FHA route, 3.5% down. Reason being is because they saw their monthly mortgage interest, monthly mortgage payment, and they saw that interest rate, and it was like,
got their mind right.
Yeah, I'm not finna do that. I'm not finna do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. People are hesitant to pay up front. But I always tell people, listen, you may have to take that L in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, this is something you want. It's something you love. You know what I'm saying? So you want to invest in it whether it costs you X amount of dollars regardless. It's okay. You can regain your money. You have a job. You can regain all that back. The same way you saved up for the home is the same way you can resave. You know what I'm saying? So I tell people all the time, like, you got to take the sacrifice now, because what you don't want to do is purchase a house that'll cost you more. For somebody who just put 3.5% down, same house or same equivalent price point,
same floor plan, everything.
Exactly, and you paying way more just because you went and got the down payment assistance.
No, I explain that to my clients too. I tell them, I say, hey, they gonna get their money some kind of way.
For sure.
Understand that nothing's free, like you said. So, like I said, I give them the information. If they want to do that $0 down, let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm with it.
After I explain to you what you're going to be spending, all right, well, you agreed on that, right? All right, let's do it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I think this is going to be the last topic for today.
Let's do it like Nike.
All right, so let's talk about renting versus owning.
Okay, I like this. I like this. Okay, and there's pros and cons with both, right? Now, when you're renting, you're still paying a landlord.
For sure.
It's not yours, right? When you're buying, it's yours, all right? So I always ask someone, I say, okay, do you want something that's yours or you don't want something that's yours? And the average person is going to say, I want something that's mine.
For sure.
That makes 100% sense to me.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So let's go that route, you know? Also, you're giving your money away, all right? When you're buying, you're not giving your money away. It's more so of an investment, all right? And I explain to my clients, I do more new construction than resale. Now, I had clients that want resale for their reasons, and I say, okay, let's do it. But with new construction, I tell them, I say, hey, when they're building, right, they're gonna start building in a whole nother section eventually.
Okay.
All right. So let's say they're building 4,000 houses in this section, and you're that person. You're one of those people, one of these people that's in the 4,000, right? When they go here in this section, they're gonna build another 4,000 homes, right? When they built this 4,000 homes here, the price point increased
for sure
from this
to that section.
So now it's a quick equity building.
Equity, for
I
sure.
don't know no other kind of investment that's gonna give you that much money in that time frame.
So I'm with you with that. I totally agree with the new construction and everything. But for some reason, I love resale homes. So I like resale homes because, for one, I ain't gonna lie, I always target 30 days on the market or more.
Okay.
Because I believe that there's a deal. So if I'm seeing that a house has been sitting on the market for more than 30 plus days,
Right.
maybe even 60 plus days,
Right.
we got a deal.
Right. Right.
The seller's already motivated.
Right.
He's already or she already came down in price,
Right.
and they may continue to come down in price.
Right.
Because at this point, you already had an expectation.
Right.
That expectation has
Wasn't
yet
met.
to be met. So at the end of the day, if you're going to drop it down,
Right.
if
This
you're
is the
willing
time.
to sell, this will be the
This the
time,
time.
right? And
I
this is what
agree.
we're going to do.
I
So
agree.
I like resale a lot because I feel like, you know, I like to be in control.
Right,
So
right, right.
I like to be in control.
I like
so I'm
that.
like, I'm in
I like
control.
that, right.
You thought you was in control, but
Right,
I'm in
but
control.
I'm in
of the
control.
deal.
Let me show you something.
Yeah, and with new construction, a lot of the times they are in control, but the reality of it is, with a good realtor,
Right.
you know, the realtor can control the deal
The
as well.
situation.
For sure.
No, I agree.
But I do like, don't get it twisted.
Right.
I love new construction.
I love new construction. I love
do. But at the same time, I think, like, I'm all for, like, I'm going in straight negotiating.
Right, right.
I'm going in straight.
No, I like
this what
that.
I need. This what I want. This what we need. This what we want. You know what I'm saying?
I like that strategy. Because
Okay.
you're 100% right. When that seller or listing agent is dealing with a seller, he had goals, he had expectations that he had to meet, right?
Yeah.
That seller is getting discouraged.
Yeah.
He's ready to fire you. You
Yeah.
know, if what you being that listing agent. So the listing agent is like, okay, I think we should do this.
For
They're
sure.
asking for a $15,000 seller concession. I think we need to give it to them.
Yeah.
You know, to get this house off the market so we can move on and y'all can move on with y'all life. So it's better negotiating skills when you look at it from that point of view. I don't know. I just love new construction. I love new construction because they have that money power to be able to give or pay closing costs for my clients, right? Or buy down the interest rates from whatever it is. Let's say it's a 7 now to $3.99 or $4.99. It's like, it's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer, you know.
Okay.
But I see pros and cons with both. Because I had a client that's like, hey, resale is they have bigger rooms, right? They built them bigger.
For
they
sure.
got bigger rooms. It's more traditional.
sure.
That's what they say.
Space,
and
the layout.
better space and things of that nature. But you have pros and cons with both. You know, I tell those options to my client and say, hey, which one you want? You want this or you want that? And
Okay.
move accordingly.
So I don't have any more topics for today. We are going to jump back into some other topics at a later date.
Okay.
So I do want everybody to subscribe for more info.
Okay.
What else would you say?
I think you guys should comment if you want a free buyer's consultation. All right.
Okay.
Comment buyer. Let's
And
do
if
it.
if you like the video, I do believe that, you know, you should like the video if you're renting. So
they
if you're
gonna love
renting, like the video.
They gonna
That's the follow-up. If you're renting, like the video.
And that's Black Eye Podcast. Y'all tuned in because we got more for y'all. Yes, Lord.
Bye.
Let's go.